There are big questions this morning about how a gunman was able to get a clear line of sight at the former president yesterday. The gunman was on the roof of a building several hundred feet from the lectern where Trump was speaking. Joining us now to talk about security at the rally is former Deputy Director of the Secret Service and CBS News consultant A.T. Smith. A.T., thank you so much for joining us. What's the first set of questions that come right to your mind about the set of facts as you know them?
Well, I think obviously with the FBI now leading this investigation, there will be quite an extraordinary amount of time involved in this. They will have some answers really quickly, but they're going to have to take this step by step, evaluate everything that the advance team and the Secret Service agents on the ground did to see just what went wrong. As you can see, the agents who surrounded the president immediately reacted in the way that they're trained to react day in, day out. You saw the deployment of the counter-assault team, which they then cover those agents who are protecting the former president. And then you saw after a short period of time, they were able to take him to the armored limousine. The reason they waited and put him on the ground was to make sure the injuries were not more significant than it has turned out to be. And so medically, they want to make sure that they're not going to cause further injury by moving him too quickly. In terms of the assailant, if you think of security and the plan that goes into an outdoor event, there's three concentric rings of security: an outer perimeter, an middle perimeter, and an inner perimeter. Outside of that farther outer perimeter is what the counter sniper team is for, and those are the folks that you saw on top of the building who ultimately killed the assailant. Their job is to survey that area beyond the secure area, if you will, up to 1,000 yards. So there will have to be some questions asked about that. They did react very quickly, and then obviously the assailant was taken out, but not quick enough to prevent this incident.
A.T., let me focus on this idea that there may have been some bystanders who saw the shooter on a roof, tried to relay word. What is the posture that sniper team or anyone else in the Secret Service is supposed to take when they get those kinds of reports? I mean, you could imagine them being a distraction. You could also imagine them being just the kind of information they need. How would they have processed that kind of information if we accept as true, and we have to say this, that those reports were in fact relayed to the authorities?
Well, if they were, obviously it takes a few seconds for people to respond. If they reported something to the local police or an agent at one of the posts that he may have been on, obviously there'd be radio traffic to try to pin that down, locate the individual, and go to him and see what they needed to do. There has been some reporting, and I heard that this individual may have been on the outside of the perimeter well before the event started, and that someone reported to the local police that he was acting suspicious. I don't have any more information beyond that, other than there might have been a report, and that the local police may have been trying to locate him, up until the point of this happening.
Very briefly, A.T., at the end here, if there's one question you would want answered at the hearings that are certainly going to be on this, what would that one question be?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
If there was one question you want answered at the hearings that are surely to follow this, what would that one question you'd want answered be?
Well, I think the biggest question right now is how did he get there, and how did he get there with that firearm? Why was the advance not out into that distance, if you will? And I think the question to be asked will be, was the view of the counter-sniper officers obstructed in some way? Was there a delay in the reporting? I mean, the bigger question seems to be that right now, simply because that's where the shot came from.
A.T. Smith, thank you so much for your expertise. Let's bring in CBS News Chief Election and Campaign Correspondent Robert Costa with the latest from the Trump campaign. Bob, good morning. What are you hearing? What's the latest from your sources?
Good morning, John. There continues to be a sense of shock inside of former President Donald Trump's inner circle, but it is notable that as of this morning, the Republican Party, the Trump campaign, carrying on with their plans for the convention. CBS News has just obtained a memo from top Trump campaign advisors that say they are now calling for what they are calling an expanded armed security presence at the convention in Milwaukee, set to begin tomorrow on Monday with 24/7 officers on site. They're also making additional security assessments. The Trump campaign also advising some of its employees to stay away from its offices as they continue to evaluate the situation. This is a fluid moment politically as well. Former President Trump about to name his running mate in the coming day or so at the convention. There are still plans to do that. This is a person behind the scenes, I'm told, who is telling his advisors, push forward. We're having the convention.
All right, Robert Costa with the latest from the Trump campaign there. Thank you so much, Bob.